So I thought it would be cool to check out. Just want to make sure that's working. Yeah, okay. I thought it'd be cool to check out my editing process for anybody that wants to know. I figured I have to edit an episode of the podcast anyway, so I might as well show some people if they want to know what I'm doing for my editing process. I'm also going to record the WordPress process of all the things that I do when I upload to Modern Superior, in case anybody wants to see that, in terms of all the little SEO things that I wrote that big post up about that is probably super boring to read. So when we record See You Next Wednesday, I press M on this software. This is Reaper. So where we record See You Next Wednesday into, I press M to make these little markers every time we start talking about something interesting, so that I will remember where they are. But basically, the first thing that I do here is I put a compression filter on every track. So in Reaper, there's this little FX that you can add to each track, and I do a compression filter, and I just do this one called Modern Vocal. Seems to do the trick for me, so I'll do that for both of these. There's also an FX plugin here called Reefer. That's really helpful for getting rid of buzz, but there's no buzz on this episode. So first thing I'll do here is I'll find the beginning of the episode.
Check. Hello, welcome to
Okay. Hopefully that sound is working. Okay, and then I have the Media Explorer here. This is where I keep I have a little folder here for all of our songs and tags. So I'll get the theme song, drag it in here. My computer's going super slow. Delete this chunk of it. I press S to split. So if I'm sitting here and I press S, you'll see it splits, and I can delete that. So let's get the holy shit, that's loud. Okay. Okay. So then I take this, move it over here.
Hello, welcome to episode 201 of See You Next Wednesday, a week
Sounds pretty good.
like hyper overacting. It seemed kind of like, I don't know. I think it can.
All right.
Crazy from what I hear. Apparently,
Baby madness today.
yeah. Okay.
I've not been able to read or watch anything today.
Okay.
Or much this week.
So,
Okay.
yoga hosers.
Yeah.
So I didn't mark this one, so I'm gonna mark it by pressing M, as you see there. I'm gonna edit the marker, and I'm gonna write, this is us talking about Kevin Smith's yoga hosers. This is super important to do for our posts.
Said a number of times.
So I'm probably gonna do like a little. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the whole podcast and mark everything and make sure that I label everything that we talked about, because that's super important. I'll probably do a little start thing here where I do a couple of them, and then it'll skip to the end, or at least to the next thing interesting. But I'm gonna go through and figure out what all these markers are.
Said a number of times.
Did you guys see the news that Sam Raimi is in line, or I guess has been picked to direct Prophet?
Prophet, yeah.
Yeah, which is they're going to remake it.
Right.
Which I actually haven't seen.
Nor have I.
But I've heard wonderful things about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic.
And that's Keanu.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the trailer for Keanu?
Oh, man.
Oh.
I didn't even
Key
write
and
that
Peele.
down.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about Key and Peele. I never actually really watched the show all that much.
I've seen enough of it. I know one thing I know about Key and Peele is I hate.
But are you also excited
Fuck that Wayans.
for Masters of the Universe?
Oh,
Directed by
right.
McG.
What?
Well,
First of all, get a
Okay, so that's basically, this is the first most labor intensive thing that I do. It's just like because we use all of these markers and time stamps on our podcast. So I'm going to go through and do all these because that's important. We use those in our show notes.
Was there anything else that you guys noticed?
I don't think he's stupid enough now.
No.
I mean, he does Coen Brothers movies.
Was there any other news that you guys saw through the week? That was all I had written down.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
What have you guys been watching?
At Demise, I've been like,
Let's.
Okay, we're gonna watch a movie tonight. What was that?
What have you guys been watching?
I'll play my hand once again.
Yeah.
I have not watched a fucking thing except Mad Men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I
still haven't finished it. I haven't seen the.
Okay, so now that I'm at the film roulette segment, I need to leave a few seconds. Because we have inserted ads here, so I will do ad spot number 2 because we do one at the top. Then I'll make this one film roulette starts. So I drag these over. This is probably so boring.
Film roulette is our weekly segment. Roll a die, and the 2 high rollers. Film roulette is our weekly segment where the 3 of us roll a die, and the 2 high rollers. Film roulette is our weekly segment where the 3 of us roll a die, and the 2 high rollers get to go see something good, or we'll talk about that and roll for movies next week.
Another thing to note as I'm doing this is I need to make sure that up here is the time code. I need to make sure that I right click on this and do minutes, seconds, not measure speeds and minutes and seconds, because that's going to be important later. So we're just looking at minutes and seconds here. So almost done.
That's where. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now is the time for rolling. What are we going to...
So I want to split these. I'm going to remove the Find my little fanfare song.
Rolling. Now is the time for rolling. The time for rolling. What are we going to do this week?
And then the end of the show. And our little Modern Superior Network tag. That's 2 left. So I'm going to put it on its own track. Turn it down a little.
This has been a presentation of the Modern Superior Media Network.
And then this will be our final ad space. Okay, so that is the editing of an episode of See You Next Wednesday. So the last thing I have to do here before I export it is now that I've made all of these markers, I need to export them as a text file. So what I do is I click View and I come down here to Region Marker Manager, and this is where having this set to seconds and minutes and not beats per second is super important. So what I do is I click on markers here and I unclick regions, and I'll just bring this down so you can see here are all of these markers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here and click Export Regions Markers, and then go to my desktop, save it as See You Next Wednesday markers, and I'm going to select that as .txt, save it, I'm done. And now one of the important parts is the exporting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spot check just to make sure that the levels are all pretty good. So let's make sure here. How loud does that get?
Hello, welcome to episode 200.
Okay. So I'm just making sure that the jump between how loud the intro song is, which is around -6, to how this is just pretty similar, and then I just kind of
with like
skip in just to make sure it's all kind
Fully fleshed out.
of around the same level. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on the timeline. You click and drag on the timeline in this program. I'm going to select that. Start the podcast right about there. I'm going to go to the end of the podcast. Drag this over here. Make sure it's right at the end. Okay, so now I'm ready to export. So I go File, Render. I change the name of the file. This is how I do them. Going to make sure that the channels under options in the render thing says mono, because you don't want a stereo file, you want a mono file for podcasting, or at least I do. I suggest you do too. Then I'm going to output as an MP3. It's really important that you select constant bitrate and 96 kbps here, so make sure output format is MP3, mode, constant bitrate, 96. This is going to make it so that it's not too big, not too small, not too low quality, and constant bitrate just means the bitrate in terms of quality isn't going up and down depending on what the audio contains. I guess it's important to be constant. You don't want it to be fluctuating. And then make sure that your source is set to master mix and bounds time selection. That's going to make sure that it only renders what we've selected here. Otherwise, you might get a file with like 10 minutes of nothing on the end, and you don't want that. So then we're going to hit render. It's going to go render, and we'll be back in a minute with the rest of the video. We'll do some writing up of a post on Modern Superior. Okay, let's get into making the Modern Superior post. I am going to log in to Modern Superior. Hopefully. Yes, so we go to posts, all posts. Slow internet. So the first thing that you want to do if you are making a post is find another post that has been made for your podcast. If you've been doing this, you probably know this if you're Christy from flight school, or I know a lot of people know the basic gist of doing this, but for anyone that might not, basically you should have been set up with a post that's already been posted for you. If you're a new podcast, we usually do that. We'll do one and then let you go your own way, but basically find your podcast, your most recent podcast. For us, it's episode 200, and click new draft. And we're going to create a new draft based on our previous thing. So it just saves us a little bit of time in terms of all the things that we have to copy over and such. So I'm going to change this to episode 201 and change the title to Anomalisa, Everest, and the Fifth Wave. Then the next thing I do is I edit here, and then I delete everything except for episode 20, and I say 201 dash, only use dashes in this part. And then I'll say Anomalisa dash Everest. And I usually, for See You Next Wednesday, I'll just pick the most important words from out of here. So Anomalisa and Everest are the two winning movies. So if there's only a winning movie and a losing movie, I would have just done those two. But because there's more, I just do that. I will delete this old image by clicking on it and then clicking the X. That deletes it. I will double check to make sure that under categories it says see you next Wednesday. You don't want it selected on uncategorized. It looks really weird. So now I will delete our old description and I will write a new one. It'll be super great. So next, okay, I delete all of this because I'm going to be pasting new stuff in. And then this is where you want your link to go. For us, we're hosted on Acast, so I have this embed. Usually this will say audio right here, and then there will be the URL, and it'll appear in between these quotes. It's really important that when you get your link from Libsyn or elsewhere, that you paste it within these two quotes. So if I was to say go to see you next Wednesday at libsyn.com, and if I was still uploading this to Libsyn, which you probably, let's say you have, I would come in here, I would find the link to the MP3, which is right here. I would copy that link, and then I would paste it in right here, and then I would change this to 201, and I would also edit this link and make sure that I also pasted this in here, the link to the MP3. I'm not going to do that right now because I haven't uploaded it to our Acast, which is where I would then come back and post in this this URL right here. But make sure that you post the MP3 URL right there. So now I'm going to delete all of these tags and write new tags for what my episode is about. So things that we've talked about: Sam Raimi, Key and Peele, Everest, Anomalisa, Keanu, Kevin Smith, Fifth Wave, so on and so forth. Toronto podcast. And the name of that album. Okay, that's fine for now. So now the really important part. So take your title, copy your title, and come down to here where it says SEO settings, and paste it in here while leaving this section here that has a little bar and Modern Superior. So I paste the episode title in there, but leave Modern Superior as the branding tag there. You can pull this little guy down here. Now the meta description here, you're going to have to write a little description about your episode, and mind over here that they have character limits. Try and abide by these. If you can't, I understand, but especially for meta description, make sure it's under 140 characters. So I'm going to say this week on the show, we talk about Everest, Anomalisa, and the Fifth Wave, plus so much more. Oh, I'll say plus more. Plus so much more. Click. Usually you want to end it in a call to action. Listen today. So now that is what I've seen some people do that but miss out on a critical thing. So now this little tag here that says social networks listing is really important. It also has some of your tags and stuff in here, and if you don't update this when you post it to Facebook, it's going to use this. So it'll say you might end up with outdated stuff on here. So what you're going to want to do is copy this, just the title, over here, and you're going to want to copy this over here. You might think you're done, but you're not, because you want an image. So I'm going to go find an Anomalisa 2015 image. I'm going to go up here, press enter, get a little spot there, add media, upload files, and then find your picture. And then click insert into post once it's uploaded. And then I'll usually pull it down just a little, and then I go into text and remove these, because that it shouldn't be there, and they usually are. I don't know why. So then I will delete those, make sure that that's right all the way up to the top. Don't do anything else in here. You might fuck something up. So that's about it. I'm going to wait until the Reaper is finished exporting my file, and then I'm going to put the show notes in here, and then that is going to be that. And now what I can do is open it up and copy and show notes, make a little bullet list, and I'll paste it here. And then what I have to do here is here's what I do is I do that basically. It takes a little bit of time, but that's what I do. Delete these little M1 thing there, and I delete the points off here, add a couple brackets, and delete here, press enter, and do that for a while. You can make it a game, see how many you can do in a minute. See if you can beat that record. And that is going to be that for editing my post on here. Just make sure the most important thing is you have your image, make sure you have new tags here, make sure you have pasted your URL in here between these quotes. Make sure that you've edited your direct download link by clicking on it and either pressing remove link and then adding link, or just click edit here when it pops up, and you'll be good to go. And then, oh, sorry. So once you've put the image in here, you also need to go back down to SEO settings in the social networks listing. So it'll be in the second tab, click upload image and select your image that you've already uploaded into your post. If you don't do that when you paste it on Facebook, then it's going to pick an outdated image, and that's going to look even weirder. So then you can come up here and save draft, or schedule it to post if that's what you do. So that's it for now. Bye bye.